Hey there, friends. This is Ellen Weatherford.
And Christian Weatherford.
And this is Just the Zoo of Us, your favorite animal review podcast, where normally we take your favorite animals and rate them out of 10 in the categories of effectiveness, ingenuity, and aesthetics. But that's not what we're doing this week. Because this is a special week. This is the Max Fun Drive, which is the time of year where we ask you for your support and say thank you if you do.
Yep. And we're in its final week, hoping to cross that finish line strong.
I know. Keen-eared listeners may perhaps be able to guess that something is different about Christian this week.
Does it really come across on the audio?
No, because I'm a really good editor. I'm so good at editing, but let's see if you can guess what it is, and we'll reveal at the end what's different.
Awesome.
This is incentive to get people to listen to the whole episode.
There you go.
Every year we do a Q&A episode as part of the Max Fun Drive because we figure the whole point of the Max Fun Drive is to say thank you and celebrate all of the listeners who support our show and keep it going. And what better way than to offer y'all the microphone and take some questions. You guys mean a lot to us, and you're the whole reason the show still exists. To take a quick peek behind the scenes at what our year has been like. For the last year, we moved across the country. That was big.
It was.
With 2 kids. And hauled all of our stuff,
and
the pets, and moved all the way across the country to a brand new place that we've never lived before. I had to leave my job, and I really, really loved my job. So that was a big change for us. We had to adjust to a harsher winter than we're accustomed to. And we lost a pet, which was very sad. But we've been dealing with a lot this year, and the podcast definitely, I don't think, would have made it if it weren't for the Max Fun support. That definitely has been, those have been the coals that have been keeping the flame going.
For sure.
So it means a lot to us that you guys help us keep making the show, and I hope that you continue doing that. And maybe some people that haven't done it before will be inspired to join the cause this year, because we have some really cool ways that we are saying thank you and giving back to people who support us. And I'll talk a little bit more about those midway through the episode. I just wanted to introduce the concept a little bit before we get started answering questions.
Of course.
So, Christian, would you like to read the first question?
Yes.
Okay, let's hear it.
The first question comes from Ed Barkworth.
Thank you, Ed.
Yes, thank you. And they write us, I'm interested to hear about how Just the Zoo of Us came to be. Sure, we can listen to episode 1, but what went into making the podcast we all love today? How was your vision for it changed since starting? And what do you hope for in the future? Thanks for all your excellent work.
Thank you, Ed. I appreciate that question. It had humble beginnings, as I think a lot of podcasts do.
Yes.
I think to wind it back to like the sort of the concept level, the we should start a podcast level. Christian and I have listened to podcasts together for quite some time now. I got really into My Brother and Me, which is another show on the Maximum Fun Network, back in 2017, I want to say, 2016, 2017. Got really into it. From there, got really into the Adventure Zone, introduced Christian to those podcasts because I was listening to them in the car all the time whenever we drove around. So
yes.
We got really into them together, just started listening to a lot of podcasts together, and it just kind of made us feel like, what if we did this? Like, what if we started a podcast? And just as one of those, it really felt like just one of those things that was just going to be a fun, silly hobby for us to have together. Because we play video games a lot, but I think we were starting to get tired of the video games we were playing together, and we're looking for something different to do together, just to have like a shared hobby.
That was the first wave of Overwatch fatigue, I think.
The first of many waves of Overwatch fatigue. But we were looking for something that we could still do together, that would be something we could learn together.
Yeah.
And something that we could enjoy doing and working on together. This was 2019, so we had just gotten married. I think we had been doing dance lessons together for our wedding for some time, and we really enjoyed the experience of like learning something together.
Yeah.
We also had a lot of creative energy from coming off of, we went on the Joko cruise for our honeymoon, which was really invigorating. It was a really great vibes and a lot of creative people. We also went to this talk that Griffin McElroy gave at FSU. There's actually a video of this on YouTube. So if
yes.
anybody wants to like watch the exact talk that we went to, it is on YouTube.
Yes.
And it was a really good, really inspirational talk that I think got a lot of wheels turning in the brain.
Yeah. So like, it was never the kind of thing where we for sure think we're going to be super successful and that's the only reason we're doing it. It's more started as we think we're going to enjoy this regardless of the outcome.
I literally thought maybe some of our very closest friends would listen to it.
Yeah.
And like, that would probably be it. You can I think you can tell from the quality of the first few episodes that I did not have like the highest hopes for the show, as in like, it was just a fun thing for us to do together.
Well, it's like it's famously said on Adventure Time. Being bad at something is the first step to being sort of good at something.
I know, and I didn't ever really think I would actually get pretty good at it.
Yeah.
So very humble beginnings, literally just like ordered a couple of super cheap microphones off Amazon that we quickly outgrew.
Oh yeah, I forgot about those.
They sucked. They were awful. But yeah, there was also the infamous gorilla versus grizzly bear argument.
Now, was that just us or was that a general internet thing at the time? I don't remember.
It is a very classic sort of like icebreaker conversation, like,
Okay.
Chatting around with your buds at the bar sort of like
Right.
conversational topic. But we got into a heated argument, and we're not the heated arguing type.
No.
We don't do arguments. We don't argue ever about anything, but we got into a spirited discussion about who would win in a fight, a grizzly bear or a gorilla. I still stand on business. I still think a gorilla would wipe the floor with a grizzly bear. I think the grizzly bear is getting cleared. Not a chance. But that was like a fun and silly like argument that we were having that kind of spiraled, and all of our like friends and family got involved in it. We had factions, and it created a sort of war amongst our social circles.
Yeah.
But that kind of gave us the idea of, if we want to do this podcast thing, maybe we can make it about animals, because it's something we really enjoy learning about together.
Yeah, but we quickly realized we didn't want to do a specific like combat animal versus animal, which one wins. That was not the vibe we wanted.
I also felt like that would get repetitive and boring, probably.
Yeah.
And I wanted something a little bit more wholesome and enjoyable and relaxing, so I'm glad that we did. A big question we had at the beginning was whether we wanted it to be family friendly or not.
That's true.
People who don't know me outside of the podcast might not guess that I use grown-up words as much as I do.
Yeah.
But that was a decision we had to make, and I'm glad we made it.
And I would say, even though of course everything is edited before made available, we do a pretty good job with just not using them in the first place for recording.
I know, yeah, because I know that it's gonna be more work for me later on. But yeah, as for the future, I think I'd like to experiment with the format a little bit, like do some things that, we've broken format a couple of times before, but I'd like to kind of play around with the structure of the episodes, like do something like ranked lists or, something like tournament I don't know, something fun, which I think bonus content will be a really great sort of playground for those ideas. Like that'll be a great sort of testing area for us to kind of play around with different episode ideas and do stuff that doesn't fit in with our typical structure. So I'm excited for that.
Now, also the decision to be family friendly wasn't just something we wanted type thing, but it also filled kind of a niche in the podcast world.
Yeah, it was real. One of the reasons I'm so glad we did that is because I know that a lot of kids listen, and a lot of families want something to listen to when their kids are in the car.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to listen to podcasts. The podcasts that I listen to, because they tend to not be family friendly, so I cannot listen to them with my kids in the car.
Right.
And if I'm in the car, my kids are probably in the car. So I think it really helps people to have something that like everybody in the family can listen to.
Yeah. And it felt validating with things like Bluey coming out, whose success is largely attributed to the likability of both parent and child.
Yes. But I'm glad that we do that, because I think it makes it easier for families to listen to together.
Yep. The only other thing I had there for that question was just my main contribution to the creation being just being the name.
I'm still so salty about this because I had been spending like a month once, because it was a good while between like coming up with the idea for the podcast and actually like posting anything about it. It was probably maybe like a couple months where we were like, preparing for it. We actually made 3 episodes before I posted any of it.
Right.
Like we made 3 full episodes, and when I started it, I dropped all 3 at once. Just because we were like really playing around with like how we wanted the episodes to go. I wasn't even sure if if we were going to use the first one, because like it's your first time recording, right? Like you don't know if it's going to just completely suck.
Right.
But I had been spending months trying to think of a title for this stupid podcast. And I had like a spreadsheet. I had like a Google Doc where I was just workshopping, trying to figure out titles, names. I had ideas, but like nothing was really hitting. And we were literally just in the car one day. And out of absolutely nowhere, apropos of nothing, Christian goes, "Just the zoo of us." I was like, are you joking? Like, I was so mad. I've been working for months to come up with something, and you hit a home run out of nowhere. Ridiculous. Unfair.
Oh, and maybe another little fun fact. I think originally I tried my hand at editing when we first started, but I think we quickly shifted off of that.
Yeah, I think I wanted a more intense like edit process, and I was willing to shoulder the burden of that work. I wanted it to be more polished, and then I knew that was going to mean a lot more work. And so I was like, you know what? I want it to sound a certain way. I'll take on the work.
Yeah.
So, and look at me now.
No.
Now I can't stop. Our second question comes from the Spooky Spouses, Jordan and Lindsay Reed. Spooky Spouses is the name of their podcast, by the way. They're delightful people. They're so fun. And they always have fantastically unique questions for us. So in our last, I think in the Field Notes episode, they asked about the like cockroaches being blended up and fed to other cockroaches.
Huh. Oh yeah, about memory and such.
Yes, which gave me a really cool springboard to talk about like memory transfer experiments and stuff. But so they asked this time, if we were living in an alternate dystopian reality that was almost like our current one, but like dystopian, which animals would you like to see used as different forms of currency? Just for clarification, these animals would not be harmed in any way. They would just be used as currency or for trading and bartering. Christian, you're up. Let's hear
Okay.
it.
This might be something of a basic answer, but I think sand dollar centric currency.
Now, basic perhaps in the sense that like it is the most easily slotted in, but not basic in the sense that I thought about this question for like a week and didn't come up with that.
Oh. So maybe for those unfamiliar, sand dollars are an animal that you'll find at the beach. They're related to sea stars, right?
Maybe. I'm not confident enough to say yes or no to that.
Okay, I think so. They have that feel to them.
They're sea star adjacent.
Yeah. You'll often see the remains of them in like beach town souvenir shops, and they're like bleached white because they've died and dried out.
To the extent that is what I thought they just naturally look
Right.
like. I thought they were just like white.
Right. But in the wild and living, they're more of a brown color.
They're almost purple. Aren't they like a dark, dark purple?
The one I've had personal experience with was more brown. But then again, it was also at a beach, and I don't wear glasses in the water. So
They also, when you see them like for sale or something, like the dried remains of them, they're just, laying flat like a paperweight or something.
Right.
That's not how they orient themselves in life.
Right.
It is fascinating.
They kind of look like someone took some coins and stuck them into the sand.
They're sticking straight up. It's ridiculous. It's so silly.
Usually underwater. But,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what they look like. So in my vision of this dystopian future, people would be walking around with jars full of seawater and sand to hold their sand dollars. But also they've been perhaps bred or genetically modified to have different colorations for denominations. Like the base one we all know and love could be like the bronze coin, and then they have silver and gold, etc.
I think you've got cyberpunk on the brain a little bit. I do like the idea of everyone, instead of carrying around a purse or a wallet, you have to carry around this like jar of seawater and sand.
Yeah.
Famously, saltwater tanks are just famously portable and convenient. They're so easy to just carry around.
Have you seen that movie? Gosh, it was from a long time ago. I think it was called Ocean World.
I got nothing.
Okay, well, that's the vibe I think I was going for here.
I'm just imagining, like, I don't know, in fantasy, like an old bog witch or something that has like a staff, and at the end of it is like a little, like a dangly, where one would have like a lantern, perhaps, but instead it's a little seawater jar.
Mm-hmm. You could decorate it with things like little plants and stickers on the outside of the jar.
Stickers on. Like I've got stickers on all my water bottles.
Yeah.
I like an aesthetic option. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I went with, okay, so I have two sort of answers. One is the sort of not as fun but real life answer. Cowrie shells actually have been used as currency.
Oh.
Yeah, in ancient Africa and China, to the extent that the cowrie genus Monetaria is named after its monetary value. So shells would be like the most practical choice because they can be used after the inhabitant is already dead and no harm is coming to the animal. But assuming I'm the one calling the shots and I get to decide which animals we use as money, I would go with beetles.
Oh.
Like the pretty sort of iridescent metallic looking beetles. Dung beetles would actually make really good pretty little coins, mostly just because they are pretty, but they're also pretty easy to catch and hold. So
They do fly though, don't they?
they do, but like you could catch them. And then here we go. We're right back to carrying a little jar around.
Yeah,
so it all converges around. The people yearn for jars full of trinkets. And then beetles come in all sorts of like shapes and sizes and colors. So you could definitely have different like types of beetles with different currency value. So I think beetles would be cool to use for that.
That would be cool. The next one comes from Amanda, and she writes, "Hello, Ellen and Christian. I got some D&D questions for you. If you could have one cantrip to cast as many times as you'd like, which one would you choose? Also, if you could choose one leveled spell, let's say levels 1 through 3, to cast only once a day, which spell would it be?" For those maybe not familiar with Dungeons & Dragons, cantrips are like weaker spells that you can just use however many times that you want.
It's a baby spell
Yeah.
that you can spam it all day long, and it doesn't matter. It costs you nothing to cast it.
Yeah, you basically just have to be alive to use it and conscious, I suppose. Whereas leveled spells, like the ones that Amanda said, 1 through 3, are ones that you have a limited resource. You can only use in a certain number of times before needing to take a rest or to go to sleep for the next day.
So a higher level spell would be more powerful, but you
Yes.
can't use it as often.
Yep. So for me, the cantrip I would pick is Guidance. Again, for those unfamiliar, Guidance, when you use it, you can use it on, I think, yourself, but more importantly, other people. That gives them a bonus to something they're trying to do.
Makes everybody do stuff better.
Yeah.
It's a support spell.
It's like a D4, I think, but it's something. So I just thought it would be neat to do that, like in real life. Just it also involves touching the person you want to use it on. So the way I imagine it is just like patting someone on the shoulder and saying, "Hey, you got this, buddy." But of course, if they still fail, you could then say, "Oh, guess not."
It doesn't guarantee a success.
No.
It just makes you do a little better.
So that could be a fun spell. And in the games I've played, there's always at least one person that has that like ready to go for
Yeah.
the DM might as well just assume that if they're not under duress of any kind, that they're always using that for
Right.
things.
You always say, "Do you want to add guidance?"
Yeah. Now for my leveled spell, I'm going to pick the spell Speak with Animals.
Very on brand.
Yes. So this one lets you communicate with that animal for about 10 minutes. You're kind of limited to the intelligence of that creature, but it would at least be able to convey the thoughts that it is able to have. I would personally, because it only lasts for 10 minutes. So assuming you can only use this once a day, I think for me, the first couple of days would be used with just kind of level setting with Aki, our cat.
We gotta sort some stuff out, my man.
Why are you the way you are?
I have questions.
Now, that's my first pick. I did say in here, optionally, I could pick instead Counterspell, depending on what you're about to pick. What Counterspell is, it gives you the opportunity to cancel out another person's spell.
You're going to need it because for my cantrip, I picked Vicious Mockery.
Oh, yeah?
I want the ability to just mercilessly roast anybody at will. I'm a professional hater.
Yeah.
I'm such a deeply ingrained hater.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just love to weaponize that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Cause psychic damage.
Yes, I would love to just hurt someone right in the brain. You better come correct. Now, for my leveled spell, I was looking through a list of 5e spells because I don't just know them off the top of my head. So I was looking around to see what my options were.
I was using a list too, if it helps.
Yeah. I came across a second level wizard spell that I'd never heard of because it came from a 2019 source book called Acquisitions Incorporated.
Oh.
This is canon material. I made sure this wasn't like homebrew or something like that. This is canon material. The spell is called Gift of Gab.
Oh.
And it will work nicely with Vicious Mockery because when you cast this spell, you skillfully reshape the memories of listeners in your immediate area so that each creature of your choice within 5 feet of you forgets everything you said within the last 6 seconds.
Oh.
Those creatures then remember that you actually said the words you speak as the verbal component of the spell.
This is gaslighting. This is gaslighting the spell.
Gift of Gaslight is what it should be called. So I frequently feel like I don't think very well on my feet. I don't speak very quickly. I kind of stumble over my words a lot. I would just love to be able to like immediately overwrite my like stuttering, stumbling attempt at a retort with whatever skillfully, like actually well articulated thing I wanted to say. I would love just an immediate redo on everything I say.
Could you use it like sometimes like where someone says something mean to you and then you're later like, oh, I should have said XYZ to that person?
It does say within the last 6 seconds.
Oh, okay.
So it's not going to work much later.
Okay.
But you do have a little bit of a grace period on everything that you say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm also a very impulsive person and often say things that I immediately am like, I shouldn't have said that. That would also be super useful for when I accidentally use grown-up words in front of the kids.
Yes.
Or accidentally mention a secret hidden dessert that I didn't want them to know
Right.
about. Now, just as a little note on this spell, according to the Forgotten Realms wiki, where I was learning about this spell was, according to the source material, created by the wizard Jim Darkmagic.
Okay.
First name Jim, last name all one word, Darkmagic.
Okay.
Which sounds to me like what a DM would say if they had not prepared a name for an NPC and the players ask what his name is. Oh, you know, this evil wizard, that's Jim Darkmagic.
They could have done something heroic and noble like Bunt Chugley.
Blunt Scuncher.
That's looking at you, Larian.
Oh, yeah. So, Jim Darkmagic, we love you. This next question comes from Soraya. Thank you, Soraya. And she asks, if you were a Disney character, what would your animal sidekick be and why?
This might be because I have some things on my mind lately from watching them, but I was thinking of a roly-poly or a pill bug or potato bug or
all right,
etc. One of those little guys, but bigger, that could then roll up into ball form and become the top or end part of a magic staff.
And that's very good. Does this
Yeah.
imply that the roly-poly has magic powers?
Yes.
That's great.
The inspiration here comes from, first of all, Sleeping Beauty, because of Maleficent's staff.
Oh.
I don't think it involves the crow. I don't think it does, but I think it would be cool if it did.
Okay.
But also, technically Disney, the Owl House, which is a more recent animated TV series where they have these things called palismen that are basically these sentient like wooden animals that can turn into magic staffs that they could like use for magic and ride on like witches' brooms and things.
What is the power you would get from your magical roly-poly?
Oh, no, I didn't think about that.
It could be like a defensive sort of thing.
Oh,
where
yeah.
you can like activate some sort of armor.
Or shield or something.
Yeah.
Repelling thing.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go with that.
In my head, it's the rubber ducky isopod.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be a little roly-poly rubber ducky. I picked a raven,
Okay.
which maybe is a little bit of a basic answer, but I think it would be cool. They can fly and fetch me things, so very useful narratively. They can help me look out for danger, which if I'm a Disney character, there's going to be some danger, there's going to be some peril. And in a Disney movie, I think they could do some really interesting things with the raven's capacity for mimicry.
Oh.
Because ravens can kind of like mimic basic sort of speech. They don't have extremely sophisticated mimicry like you'd hear from like a parrot or like a lyrebird or something. But it's pretty decent mimicry. They can make pretty basic words. So I think that I think you could do some really interesting things with like maybe my raven companion could like talk, but only in short words that it had learned before. Like it could only use words that it's heard somebody say to it, right? So maybe you could like build that and like watch the raven's vocabulary build throughout the story or something.
But can only say those words in the same tone and inflection that it heard them for the first time.
That's true. It has to be like a pitch perfect imitation. And I guess then it would be in the voice of whoever told it that thing. Our younger son really, really loves videos of a raven on TikTok.
Oh,
that
yeah.
makes little sounds. He goes, "Gwa." And, oh my gosh. Little one loves it. He
does.
loses it. He thinks it's so funny.
Is it fire up the Gua machine?
To the point that like sometimes he just makes that sound and it's very funny.
The things that the raven brings back to you are the things you asked for or just the things that it likes?
I think that's going to be sort of plot determined. I think when it's convenient for the narrative, it's going to bring me things that I ask for. And then when it would be funny for it to not bring me things I ask for, then it'll do that. It's going to do whatever works for the storyboard.
Here's some shiny bottle caps.
Yes, very good. Excellent. Like you ask for it to bring you like money and it brings you back like a Chuck E. Cheese coin or something.
Right, yeah. Well, that's fun.
I think it's your turn to read the next one.
Yeah. Mickey says, I'm a huge fan of your podcast and a Max Fun supporter. Thank you, Mickey.
Thank you, Mickey.
I was wondering if you have plans to start taking commercial ads in addition to the other Max Fun shows. I'd happily sit through some ads so the two of you are better compensated for your work. I appreciate all that you do to make your amazing podcast.
So glad you asked. Such a timely question. Love that for us. So, ads are fleeting.
Right.
Advertisers come and go, and they can be a little unpredictable. You're not really guaranteed to have the same ad campaign going for a long period of time. So it's not extremely reliable. And I listen to a lot of other podcasts that do have ads, and a lot of them have, noticed a decline in ad sales just because that's the state the industry is in right now. Like podcast advertising, I think, is waning a little bit at the moment, which happens. But we are compensated for our work, but it's not from advertisers. It's from people who actually care about and listen to the show. So ultimately, that's where our biggest responsibility is, right? Like we don't have obligations to advertisers that we need to please. We have obligations to listeners. Like
Right.
it is an incentive for us to make a better show and make the show as good as we can make it for the listeners,
Right.
because that's who's paying for the show.
Right. And with Mickey being a supporter, I don't assume that they're saying that they think the ads are the only source. Because
Right.
obviously, they know since
Yes.
they're a member.
Yeah.
But maybe more so in the context of increasing that income in some way from
Right.
ads. But like you mentioned, for us at least, we see the greater value in that relationship with the listener.
Right. Yeah. We are not a huge podcast. We don't have an enormous audience. We have a good, healthy sized audience, but it is not huge.
Right.
But what I think we do have is a highly engaged audience and an audience that loves us. And, so I think we get a lot out of just focusing a lot more on that relationship with our listeners. And we get a lot of support for that. We are paid for it, but it is by the people who actually enjoy and listen to the podcast. So that's who we make it for.
Yep. So I think, our current focus is really just bringing that value to supporters through the Max Fun Drive.
That happens to be a great transition into talking about this year's sort of goals for the Max Fun Drive, because I think it means a lot for the future of the show. Every year we have like goals where we do fun things and we get a certain number of new or upgrading or boosting members. This year our goal has been 300 new upgrading or boosting members. And if we are able to hit that, which as of this morning, we were like in the single digits away from 300. So I think we're super close.
Yeah, if we don't hit it by the time this episode drops, I would be shocked.
We would have bigger problems. But our goal for this year was 300 new upgrading or boosting. And our idea for this year is that we want to more regularly make bonus content, which is exclusive content just for members. It goes up in a special feed that Max Fun members have access to. And we really want that to be where we do our silly, off-model stuff, just like we do for the BOCO that we put out for the Max Fun Drive every year. It's like different from what we usually do. Just to talk about this year's bonus content, because there's already bonus content up for this year's Max Fun Drive. So anybody who joins, upgrades, or boosts right now can have access to this content that's already out. And this year we did a very special episode in which Christian provided some words for me to fill in my notes that guided an episode in an ad-lib sort of fashion.
Yes.
Which was really, really fun. But in past years, last year we did a Fakemon lab where we came up with a bunch of ideas for different fake Pokemon. And then the year before that, we did a tournament style bracket of our favorite animals. So that's the kind of thing that we want to basically make every month and have those up so that people who are members and who are supporters get a little something extra every month. But it's not just our bonus content. So anybody who is a member of the Maximum Fun Network gets access to all of the bonus content for the whole network. And it is, what do they say, 600 plus hours of content?
That sounds right. Yeah.
It's for every show for every year. There's a lot of content for Max Fun members. And that is just at the basic level of membership. At just the $5 a month level, you get access to all the bonus content, including any bonus content we make going forward, which we're really excited about.
Yes.
But then there's also higher levels of membership where they're offering gifts, which are always a delight every single year. And this year I'm really excited about them because the $10 a month level, you get an enamel pin. And our enamel pin is a rat driving a car. It's the Max Fun Drive. It's driving a car. So a very cute little rat pin that you can get at the $10 a month level. At the next, I think the $20 a month level, you can get this really amazing bandana with a chessboard design on it that's custom for the network. So there's this design that has little references to all of the shows around the borders of the bandana, but it's also a playable chessboard. And it comes with little game pieces that have checkers on one side and chess pieces on the other. So you can actually wrap up all of your pieces in the bandana, take it with you wherever you go, and then boom, there you go. You've got this little portable chessboard.
Perfect.
I've been getting really into chess recently, so this could not have come at a better time for me personally. Oh, I also wanted to say that I was on Let's Learn Everything's bonus content this year just because it was really, really good, where we played a modified version of Honey Heist where we were all rats and we had to do a heist in New York City. It was really fun. So if you're already going to sign up, you should check that one out too because it was really, really great and I was on that one. I'm just really excited about all the ways that we can give back to people that do support our show because it lets us continue to own the show and make it the way that we want to make it. So it means a lot to us. If all of that sounds really cool and anybody wants to go check it out, please head over to MaximumFun.org/join. If you're not currently operating a motor vehicle or in any other way engaged in an activity that would be dangerous to use your phone, go ahead, do it now if you can. Because if you're like me, then you'll forget and never do it. And then you'll be bummed out when you're like, oh man, I wish I'd gotten that pin. Or I wish I'd gotten that bandana. That sounded really cool. So do it while you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
Oh, and that link is MaximumFun.org/join. This next question comes to us from Sherry, Catherine, and Brian. And they write, I love Q&A episodes. Thank you for the chance to send you a question. Thank you for being a source of joy for the past few years. My partner and I love your show. We started listening during a trip to Italy nearly 2 years ago, and now love to listen together as we prepare for our wedding in June. Congratulations.
For sure.
That's so exciting. I love weddings. You've helped us strengthen our critical thinking skills, and you've influenced the questions we ask during our evening nature walks around Chicago's many parks.
That sounds so nice.
Oh, I bet that's lit. That sounds amazing. Thank you for helping us enjoy our neighborhood even more than we already do. You've interviewed so many people that your interview skills must have evolved. What have you learned from interviewing so many folks? Have you changed any strategies after learning the hard way, such as changing the wording of questions, learning how to prompt people, when to segue, etc.? Thank you for that question.
Yes.
It gives me a chance to flex a little bit, so I'll take it. So I am someone who talks a lot. I just do it naturally. So having to do interviews, I have had to learn to shut up.
What?
I'm being so serious. So when you're just in casual conversation with somebody, there's a little bit of, it's expected that it's going to be about 50-50, some back and forth, right? And also when you're in a conversation with somebody, you're probably going to be giving them little indicators that you're like engaged, where you might be like, yeah. Like you're like saying things to let them know that you're still kind of present in the conversation. But that's an audio nightmare. So I've had to learn to not do all of that stuff and to be quiet while the other person is talking, because the intention is that the other person, the guest, should be like the star of the show, right? I really want to make sure that it is about them and about their work. So I've had to become a much better listener. I've gotten a lot better about asking follow-up questions, right? If somebody says something that to me sounds like, oh, like, let's expand on that. Let's go down that rabbit hole. Let's learn more about this concept. I'm better about asking follow-up questions, calling back to something they said earlier in the conversation. So like later on, I might remember like, oh, this, ties back to something you said earlier. Mm-hmm. Also asking, prompting people for personal stories. And some guests just talk a lot on their own. They're like a little wind-up toy. You can just give them a little very like simple question and they can kind of take it from there and they will talk. That's great. That makes my job very, very easy. A lot of other guests might be very concise. So I might need to take a more active role in that conversation. I just need to kind of adjust how I'm hosting based on who I'm talking to. And a huge part of that for me is making sure that every guest that I talk to is comfortable and having a good time, because nobody performs their best when they're nervous or uncomfortable. So every time I'm on a call with a guest, I make sure that we spend usually between 5 and 15 minutes just chatting before I hit record, because we're getting to know each other. This is probably the first time we're talking. Like, we're getting comfortable with each other. We're kind of setting some like ground level expectations. I make sure I let people know that because of how thoroughly I edit the podcast, you can go get water. You can get up and go to the bathroom. You do not need to worry about me. I want to make sure that people feel like they don't feel like it's so stuffy or formal. I try to make sure that everyone is comfortable and feels confident and having a good time.
Because for most people, when they think of interview, they think of job interview, which is
Yeah, it can be
formal.
very intimidating. Yeah, especially because I have so many people on the show that have never done anything like this before, and have no idea what to expect. Or if they do have a lot of experience with like doing educational outreach or something, it's usually in a pretty professional setting.
Right.
So there's like a customer service voice that comes to it. But I guess, for me, just I've had to, because I've gotten a lot more comfortable and a lot more confident doing this, I've gotten better at like being the one to set the tone. Like when I'm talking to somebody, I have to set the tone for like formality and professionalism. And I feel like if I come into a conversation joking around and being a little casual and being a little informal, that will kind of help that person open up and not feel so stuffy. And then I feel like people have a better time and I have a better time and we get a better recording when everyone's feeling good.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we have this sometimes where sometimes it's time for us to record and we're just not feeling it.
True.
Like we don't feel good. We're tired. We're cranky. It's not. And I always take the approach of, I would rather it be late and good. Like, I'd rather us do it when we're in a good frame of mind, a good headspace. I want everybody to be having a good time. And that's how we're going to get a good podcast.
Yeah. And I think it shows.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. You'd love the guest episodes. You should check them out sometime.
So that's a good segue into, I guess, the little bit I have to offer here, because of course, listeners, you probably know, the interview episodes are done by Ellen and only Ellen.
It's just me.
However, there was once, I think, maybe twice.
I think our first 3 guest episodes.
Yeah, where we attempted to do the interview episodes with me included. And so the question was, how have we improved the interviews? And I think in that way, we came to the conclusion that just having Ellen with whoever's being interviewed is a better flow.
I just talk a lot more than Christian, so I think. But also, it was technically a nightmare.
True. Yeah.
Having us both recording in the same room with another person not in the same room.
Right.
That sucked. And now we've got a little one that usually when I'm recording, Christian has to hang out with.
True. Yeah.
kiddos.
So oftentimes when those calls are taking place, either our youngest is with me or at now daycare.
And we're able to afford daycare thanks to your support as a Maximum Fund member. That money goes straight to daycare. That's a joke. Not all of it goes to daycare, but so I mentioned earlier that we moved across the country. I left my job. I've been having to watch the little one, the 3-year-old. We have a 3-year-old. So I've been watching the 3-year-old while Christian works from home, which has left me very, very, very little time for anything that's not watching a 3-year-old. I have had to do all of my podcast work crammed into the late hours of the night after both of the children have gone to bed. That is my podcasting time, and I'm usually tired from a long day. So being able to get the little one into daycare, huge. Big things for the future of the podcast now that 3-year-old is in daycare.
Also, Ellen is just a much better interviewer than I am.
Oh,
so.
I just talk a lot. I'm just the resident extrovert.
It's important. This next one comes from Britt, who writes, do either of you have a favorite species of duck? Followed by a duck emoji.
That's important. That's an important visual aid.
Yeah. Mine is the ruddy duck. I think they're so goofy looking and yet handsome all the same. My partner thinks this is a weird category to have strong opinions in. Some people just don't understand, but I love him anyway. Have a happy Max Fun Drive. Okay, bye.
I do think it's appropriate to have strong feelings about your favorite duck.
I feel like my knowledge is lacking in the variety of duck.
We're duck appreciators.
Yeah.
We're not duck heads. We're not like in the duck fandom.
So for me, the ruddy duck did come to mind pretty much immediately with that question, because we've seen those at what was our local zoo in Jacksonville, Florida. But since Britt already offered the ruddy duck, I'll also mention the wood duck. Our previous neighbor had hopes of attracting them to the retention pond behind our houses.
We had them in the retention pond.
It was only like once, though, wasn't it? Across 4 years.
Yeah.
But we got to see them, and they're very handsome.
They're lovely ducks. They're so iconic. They're really good. Mine is a tie between the mandarin duck, which is just gorgeous. It's a beautiful little duck that has it's so complicated because it's just a very ornate looking duck. It's a beautiful duck, the mandarin duck, and the hooded merganser, which was also a duck that was a seasonal visitor to our backyard pond in Florida. During the winter, usually the hooded mergansers would come by. And they're so striking. You can see them from, forever away because of that bright, high contrast, black and white.
Right.
And then they're also they're diving ducks that eat fish. How cool is that? They have little spiky needle teeth, and they're so, when you get up close to them, you're like, that thing's terrifying.
Yeah.
So they're spooky and goth duck.
Perfect.
I like them. Next question comes to us from Hannah Lipples. Hannah writes, "Hi, I love listening to your show and learning about cool and quirky animals that I never knew about or didn't know a lot about. I have 2 questions for your Q&A episode. First, of all the zoos and aquariums you have visited, which one was your favorite and why? Secondly, do you have any animal book recommendations? This could be fiction books with animals in them or nonfiction books about animals. Thank you so much." Thank you, Hannah.
Yeah. So for me, I think the Georgia Aquarium holds number one for me. That's for a couple reasons. So one, its size, but also the fact that it has whale sharks and manta rays. Which
I mean, where else are you going to see
those.
that? Yeah. And there's like, where are you going to go to see those?
I guess you go to the ocean if you don't mind jumping on in. But also, we've created some very fond memories there.
We have.
Because where we lived in Florida, the Georgia Aquarium in Atlanta was maybe a 6-hour or so drive. Could do a good weekend trip there if we wanted.
Weekend trippable.
Or a 45-minute plane ride.
As long as you don't leave your keys in a rental car.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who's ever done that.
So yeah, we've gone to Atlanta lots of times, and sometimes for different things, but we would usually make time for a Georgia Aquarium trip while there. I don't really have a book recommendation in mind.
Don't worry,
animals.
I do.
Oh, great.
You also wanted to mention the sea otter thing that we did there.
Thank you. So speaking of memories, one of the things we did there was I surprised Ellen with a behind-the-scenes sea otter experience.
That was so good. That was off the chain. It was so cool. And I had no idea we were doing it.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Was there an occasion for that trip?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Sea otters was the occasion.
Maybe it was my birthday or something.
I don't remember now.
Sounds right.
So yeah, I wanted to do one of those special behind the scenes things, and I didn't think I was going to get Ellen to go jumping in the tank with sharks and things.
I'd do it now.
Yeah.
I'm different. You fixed me.
But the sea otters were super cool. We got to see how they do some of their training and some of their health checkups, how they do what is that called, where they're trained to come up to the glass.
Like Target?
Yes. So we got to see them put their little noses up there and their little hands.
Get to boop them. It was very sweet.
We got to see their food, which included squid and clam popsicles.
Yeah, we got
shrimp.
to give that. And this is like how much I've improved. I wouldn't even hold the clam popsicle for the otter. It was so like just grossed out by it.
Oh, it was so
I could do it
cute.
now.
Yeah. So that was great. Got to see them use their little armpit bags.
Oh my god, so cute! It was, and we got to feel their fur, and it's so soft.
It was very good.
Yeah, it was great. That was an awesome trip.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Georgia Aquarium, very, very impressive. For me, the Monterey Bay Aquarium is kind of the obvious goat. The Georgia Aquarium is not like the whole facility is the sort of place that like we usually spend 2 hours when we're there. And like I feel like we see everything when we're there, and we're usually not there for more than like 3 hours max, like 3 or 4 hours at the absolute most. Mm-hmm. And we do like stop and see everything and really look at stuff.
Well, I feel like that time also got cut down with the introduction of children with us.
Yeah, that's true. We do have to kind of keep things moving.
Yeah.
But you can see everything in a couple hours. But the Monterey Bay Aquarium, which we went to last year,
it would have been 2
years
years
ago.
this summer.
Yeah. So, I mean, we spent 6 or 8 hours, something like that, at the Monterey Bay Aquarium. We were there all day.
True.
It was an all-day trip.
Yeah.
And I still felt like there were some things we kind of breezed past, like
that was also the cornerstone of that whole trip.
Yes, that was the intention was to go. The whole trip was to go to that aquarium,
Mm-hmm.
and it definitely was worth the trip because it is the sort of place you could spend all day. Yeah, I definitely will be going again at some point. It's great. If you are going to travel to see a zoo or aquarium, that's definitely got to be high on the list. I mean, not to be biased or anything, but I actually legitimately felt like the Jacksonville Zoo was like world class.
Yeah, I feel like I would feel differently about it had I, not live in the neighborhood and seen it, dozens of times, right?
Well, now that we've done more traveling and seen zoos in other cities, we get an appreciation for the Jacksonville Zoo that I think you don't have when you live there and you go there all the time, and it kind of loses the novelty. But now that I've gone to other zoos, I realize like how good we had it, I guess.
Especially with the tigers.
Oh my gosh, the tiger exhibit is incredible. We like the Woodland Park Zoo here.
Yes,
we like the zoos around here in Seattle. There's really nice zoos. I really liked the Jacksonville Zoo is the crowning jewel of the city, I think.
I will say San Diego is still on my list of zoos to go to.
Oh, I was about to say, like, you went to the San Diego
No.
Yeah, that's supposed to be really, really cool. We'll definitely make, now that we're on the West Coast, we'll make our way down there.
Yeah, although I think we're still like equidistant from it, but that's all right.
That's true. We're probably not much closer than we started, I bet.
Just a different direction now.
Oh, and I do have a book recommendation. Actually, my book recommendation came to me from a listener. So this is me just blasting the signal, I guess. This was a recommendation that came to me from listener Ariel Belk, who back in 2022 sent me an email recommending that I check out the book Hollow Kingdom, which is a book about a zombie apocalypse. Already I'm game. I'm so down for a zombie apocalypse. I love a zombie apocalypse, but it is told from the perspective of a crow. And the crow lives in Seattle. And so it takes place in the Seattle area. The narrator, the protagonist, is this crow who's kind of been raised by a human in Seattle and is still a crow and can, like, you know, communicate with other animals in the area. And it's just a delightful story. I loved it. I just devoured it, and I really enjoyed it. I will say this is not a book for kids. Not only is there a lot of body horror and gore, there's also a lot of profanity. I won't say what the protagonist's name is, but it does include a grown-up word. So there's a lot of profanity. It's not a book for kids, but
I guess this then suggests that there's dialogue from the crow and, and other animals, perhaps.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there is dialogue.
Okay.
And, you know, the crow also has been, like, raised by a human, so it has a lot of, like, everything that it knows about the world it learned from, like, National Geographic on TV and stuff, which is pretty cool. And I actually read the sequel. The sequel is called Feral Creatures, and I read that like 2 months ago. And the sequel's also really, really good.
Nice.
So that's my recommendation. I think there's a lot of, like, love for the nature and, like, the ecology of the Pacific Northwest in that book. But remember, I read this book when I lived in Florida, and I didn't feel like it hindered my comprehension of anything. Like, it still came across, you know, very well, even though I was not familiar with the Pacific Northwest when I read it. But reading it now, like, kind of hits a little different because I live here.
Well, in that same vein, The Last of Us Part 2 takes place in Seattle. So, well, a good chunk of it does, I should say. So maybe that'll be worth a replay for me.
Yeah. Maybe we'll talk about that for a bonus episode. We got a lot of questions this year, and we weren't able to get to all of them, so I'm terribly sorry if you didn't hear your question read on this episode. We got a lot, which is great. I'm always really happy to hear from you guys. Maybe I'll reply to those individually.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry if I didn't get to your question on air, but thank you to everybody who sent in questions. It has been a delight to talk to you guys. Our 3-year-old's knocking on his door. He's done with his nap, so we do have to wrap up. But once again, just to kind of repeat what we talked about earlier, this is the Maximum Fun Drive. All of the support that we get from you guys keeps the show going. If you like the show and it means a lot to you, I would love it if you could be a part of letting us make it, because we love making it for you and we want to keep making it for you and making it the best it can be. So if you want to be a part of making the show happen, head over to MaximumFun.org/join. Check out all the awesome gifts and events that are going on and fun things that we're doing to, you know, say thank you to members and drum up hype for the drive. This drive is kind of like the time of year where, like, how the drive goes depends on how we budget for the year, basically. Like, this will kind of give us an idea of what our finances look like for the show for the whole year. So, you know, getting a strong Max Fun Drive is really important for us.
Yeah.
So, because this is the only time we bother you about it. We literally never talk about, like, we do not, like, sell you guys on stuff. We don't do this, like, year round. This is the only time of year we're, like, super obnoxious about it. Like, I promise I will leave you alone after this.
Of course, you can, you know, join at any time of the year. It's just this is the time of the year where we ask.
Yes, this is the time when we say, please join. So if you're ready and you want to go check out some of the cool stuff we have going on for the drive, head over to MaximumFun.org/join. Oh, if you listen to the end to hear what's different about Christian, take it away. What's different?
Oh, I have shaved my facial hair.
And for people unfamiliar with Christian, they might be like, so what? Who cares?
Who cares? Faceless voice. Yeah, I've had facial hair for the past 8 or 9 years, I think.
Facial hair is underselling it.
Yeah, well, a large beard and mustache, etc.
A big, voluminous, bushy beard that's constantly brushing up against your microphone.
That's true, and especially the pop screen. So yeah, that's not related to the drive or anything. I was just looking to change things up a bit with it coming to being spring, and I figured if I don't like it, I can just grow it back.
It's a good time of year for it. It's getting a little warmer.
Yeah.
Get rid of your facial hair. You feel the breeze on your face.
Yeah, that's been nice.
So everybody who's had a little mental image of Christian in your head while you're listening, update it. He's now beardless. And if you don't know what his face looks like under his beard, just fill it in however you want. Just imagine.
Release the coloring sheet.
Like those old little, like the toys that had the iron filings and a magnet, and you could arrange
that would work too.
Hair on someone's face. I meant more like if they don't know what your face looks like, they can just imagine what like your like chin and jaws look like, and just fill in your own. Maybe there's a pendulous dewlap under there. Maybe you have like a throat sac that you can like inflate to impress mates and ward off potential competitors.
Yeah, that's how I earned your admiration.
Yeah, it was all about the throat sac. Well, that's all for us this week. Thank you to Louis Zong for our theme music. It slaps, it's a bop, it's a banger.
And thank you, listener.
And thank you. We do this for you. Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture.
Artist owned.
Audience supported.